November 24, 2014. The digital infrastructure of Sony Pictures Entertainment, a cornerstone of the global entertainment industry, was suddenly, inexplicably paralyzed. Employees arriving for work found their computers displaying an ominous skull, accompanied by a chilling message from a group calling themselves Guardians of Peace, or GOP. This was not a routine IT glitch. It was the opening salvo of one of the most destructive and publicly scrutinized cyberattacks in corporate history, an event that would expose the intimate workings of a Hollywood titan and send shockwaves far beyond the studio gates. The world watched as a major studio was brought to its knees. Before the attack, Sony Pictures Entertainment stood as a colossal entity within Hollywood, responsible for producing and distributing some of the world's most beloved films and television shows. Its network held an immense repository of sensitive data, unreleased movie footage, intricate financial records, private executive communications, and the personal information of thousands of employees. This digital infrastructure was not merely a convenience, it was the nervous system of a multi-billion-dollar operation, vital to its daily functions and future projects. The presumed security of such a vast and valuable digital domain made the subsequent breach all the more shocking. The Guardians of Peace didn't just cause a disruption, they executed a profound infiltration. Their methods, later analyzed by cybersecurity experts, suggested a sophisticated and patient approach, potentially involving spear phishing campaigns that targeted specific employees. Once inside Sony's network, they moved laterally, escalating privileges and gaining access to critical servers. This wasn't a smash and grab. It was a digital occupation, mapping the studio's most sensitive data repositories and preparing them for exfiltration. The attackers demonstrated an intimate understanding of the network's architecture, allowing them to extract vast amounts of information stealthily before unleashing the public spectacle. The initial digital tremors quickly escalated into a full-blown earthquake as the hackers began to leak confidential data. Among the most damaging revelations were hundreds of thousands of internal emails. These weren't just mundane office communications, they were raw and censored exchanges between top executives, producers, and talent. The content exposed candid opinions on actors, unvarnished critiques of films, and sensitive business dealings. The public exposure of these private discussions created immediate embarrassment, sparked internal turmoil, and damaged professional relationships throughout Hollywood, offering an unprecedented, often unflattering, glimpse behind the industry's polished facade. Perhaps the most tangible financial blow came from the leak of unreleased films. Several major motion pictures, still months away from their theatrical debuts, suddenly appeared on torrent sites and file-sharing platforms. Titles like Fury, Annie, and Still Alice, along with early cuts of other projects, were pirated on an unprecedented scale. This premature release directly undermined box office potential and promotional strategies, representing millions of dollars in projected revenue loss. The attack transformed Sony Pictures into a reluctant provider of free content, a devastating outcome for a company whose core business relied on intellectual property protection. Beyond the corporate and creative damage, the hack inflicted a deeply personal toll. The Guardians of Peace also leaked extensive employee data, including names, addresses, social security numbers, salary information, and even health records. This exposed tens of thousands of individuals to potential identity theft, fraud, and emotional distress. For the employees, their sense of security was shattered, transforming a corporate crisis into a personal nightmare. Sony Pictures faced immediate lawsuits and a significant challenge in rebuilding trust with its workforce, highlighting the profound responsibility companies bear in protecting their employees' most sensitive information. The breach extended to a vast array of internal documents, offering a complete corporate X-ray. This included detailed financial statements, confidential contracts with actors and directors, future production plans, and even sensitive legal documents. The exposure of such proprietary information gave competitors an unprecedented advantage, undermined negotiating positions, and laid bare the company's strategic roadmap. The sheer volume and sensitivity of these documents revealed a comprehensive compromise, far beyond a simple data dump, showcasing the attackers' intent to inflict maximum operational and reputational damage on Sony Pictures. The Sony Pictures hack wasn't just a corporate incident, it became a global media spectacle. News outlets worldwide fixated on the unfolding drama, dissecting every leaked email and unreleased film. The sheer audacity of the attack, combined with the salacious details emerging from the leaks, captivated the public imagination. It transformed a cybersecurity event into front-page news, drawing unprecedented attention to the vulnerabilities of digital corporations. This global spotlight amplified Sony's distress, making it a cautionary tale broadcast across every major news network and digital platform, highlighting the far-reaching consequences of such a pervasive breach. Beyond the leaks, the immediate impact on Sony Pictures was one of profound operational paralysis. The attack wiped out vital servers, rendering thousands of computers inoperable and forcing employees to revert to manual processes. Email systems crashed, internal networks failed, and basic business functions ground to a halt. This wasn't merely a data breach, it was an act of digital sabotage designed to cripple the company's ability to function. The studio struggled for weeks to restore its systems, demonstrating how deeply modern corporations rely on their digital infrastructure and how vulnerable they are when it's compromised. The financial damage inflicted upon Sony Pictures was substantial and multifaceted. Estimates placed the direct costs of the attack, including IT repair, system upgrades, legal fees, and settlement payouts, in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Beyond direct expenses, the losses from unreleased films being pirated, reputational damage, and lost productivity were harder to quantify but undeniably immense. The incident served as a stark reminder of the escalating financial risks associated with sophisticated cyberattacks, illustrating how quickly digital vulnerabilities can translate into tangible economic losses for major corporations. As the scale of the attack became clear, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, launched an immediate and extensive investigation. Their primary objectives were to identify the perpetrators, understand the methods used, and prevent future incidents. The FBI worked in conjunction with private cybersecurity firms to sift through the digital wreckage, analyze malware samples, and trace the digital breadcrumbs left by the guardians of peace. This complex undertaking involved forensic analysis of compromised servers, network traffic logs, and the unique characteristics of the malicious software deployed during the breach. Within weeks of the attack, the FBI publicly attributed the Sony Pictures hack to North Korea. This conclusion was based on several factors, including the use of specific malware strains previously linked to North Korean cyber operations, similarities in tactics and infrastructure, and the geopolitical context surrounding a controversial film. The United States government officially condemned North Korea for the attack, marking a significant moment in the history of state-sponsored cyber warfare. This attribution, however, remained a subject of debate among some cybersecurity experts, who questioned the certainty of the evidence. The alleged motive for the attack centered on The Interview, a satirical comedy produced by Sony Pictures. The film depicted a plot to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. North Korea vehemently condemned the film as an act of war and propaganda. Following the hack and explicit threats from the Guardians of Peace against theaters planning to show the film, Sony initially pulled The Interview from wide release. This decision sparked a major debate about censorship, artistic freedom, and the chilling effect of cyberattacks on creative expression, with President Obama himself criticizing Sony's initial decision. Cybersecurity firms meticulously analyzed the malware used in the attack, dubbed Destover or Wiper. This sophisticated malicious software was designed not just to steal data but to systematically destroy it, making recovery exceptionally difficult. The analysis revealed a multi-stage attack, starting with initial compromises to gain a foothold, followed by lateral movement to map the network, and culminating in the deployment of data-wiping modules. This level of planning and destructive capability underscored the advanced nature of the threat actors, moving beyond simple data theft to encompass full-scale digital sabotage. The U.S. government's attribution to North Korea was not universally accepted. While some experts lauded the FBI's findings, others pointed to the possibility of a false flag operation, suggesting the evidence could be misleading or incomplete. Arguments against the attribution included the public nature of the leaks, which seemed uncharacteristic of typical state-sponsored espionage, and the possibility of disgruntled former employees or hacktivists. Despite these lingering questions, the official stance remained firm, framing the attack as a clear act of aggression by a nation-state, setting a precedent for future responses to cyber warfare. The Sony Pictures hack served as a monumental wake-up call for the entire cybersecurity industry and corporate world. It irrevocably altered perceptions of corporate network vulnerabilities. The incident demonstrated that even large, well-resourced organizations could be utterly crippled by a determined cyber adversary. It spurred companies across all sectors to significantly re-evaluate their security postures, invest more heavily in defensive technologies, and implement robust incident response plans. The focus shifted from mere data protection to resilience against sophisticated and destructive attacks, recognizing the potential for business continuity to be severely impacted. For corporations globally, the Sony hack provided invaluable, albeit painful, lessons. It highlighted the critical need for multi-layered security defenses, including stronger endpoint protection, advanced threat detection, and comprehensive employee training against phishing. It underscored the importance of robust data backup and recovery strategies, isolating critical systems, and having an effective crisis communication plan. The incident revealed that technical safeguards alone are insufficient. A holistic approach encompassing technology, processes, and human awareness is essential to mitigate the risks posed by increasingly sophisticated and state-backed cyber threats. Beyond corporate security, the Sony Pictures hack had significant geopolitical implications. It escalated the conversation around state-sponsored cyber warfare, demonstrating how digital attacks could be used to achieve political objectives, influence foreign policy, and even attempt to censor artistic expression in another sovereign nation. The U.S. government's strong response, including sanctions against North Korea, set a precedent for future retaliatory measures against state-backed cyber aggression. The incident made it clear that cyberattacks were no longer merely criminal acts but potential acts of war, with far-reaching consequences for international relations. In the immediate aftermath, Sony Pictures faced immense challenges. The company spent hundreds of millions rebuilding its network, settling lawsuits, and repairing its tarnished reputation. Leadership changes occurred, and a significant overhaul of its cybersecurity infrastructure was undertaken. While the studio eventually recovered, the incident left an indelible mark, serving as a constant reminder of its vulnerability. The recovery process was long and arduous, but Sony's ability to eventually resume normal operations offered a testament to corporate resilience, albeit at a very steep and public cost. The 2014 Sony Pictures hack remains a pivotal moment in cybersecurity history. It exposed the stark reality of digital vulnerabilities in an interconnected world and reshaped how corporations, governments, and the public perceive cyber threats. The lessons learned from Sony's ordeal continue to influence security protocols, international cyber diplomacy, and the ongoing battle against state-sponsored and sophisticated hacking groups. As the digital landscape evolves, the Sony Pictures hack serves as a perennial warning: no organization is truly impenetrable, and the defense against cyber warfare is a constant, evolving challenge that demands vigilance and innovation.